Spy Family is really taking the world by storm, with it continuously trending on social media, to countless memes and fan art being created thanks to the series, to people that are not even into anime talking about Spy Family. I guess it's safe to say that the series has gotten rather popular. For good reason at that, because it makes me so happy when I can sit down and say that the anime is better than the manga. And it's a rarity. It really is. It's sad, but it's a rarity, especially when you look at what anime has to offer. For instance, voice acting, movement, art and animation, colored art animation. There is a lot that anime can really do to expand upon the original source, either be a light novel or a manga. And it's sad that most of the time when it comes to an anime adaptation, that's not the case. But Spy Family is obviously an exception. It is a series that is being elevated beyond its original source, and not at a fault to the manga by any means. The manga is excellent, and so much respect to all the writers out there, but obviously when it comes to writing a manga or a light novel, there is restrictions. For instance, it's panel format, it's black and white ink, so obviously you can't show movement in a similar way as anime. Anime obviously has a leg up in a lot of different areas, and so it's like, when you see an anime use its medium to the fullest and elevate it, it's just so amazing. And I cannot imagine if I was, let's say, the writer of Spy Family, and I looked at the show of Spy Family and been like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like, this is amazing. I'd probably be rocking and giddy just seeing my series, my baby I wrote, turned into something so amazing. I would be so freaking happy. I cannot begin to imagine the level of love and, I guess, pride that the writer has in Spy Family when they probably sit down and watch this anime series. So let's talk about why I said those words, why the anime of Spy Family seems to already be better than the manga. So, as I said, I am very happy when I'm able to say those words, because it's not often it happens. There's so many anime that just they do the bare minimum of what anime can actually offer. For instance, when an anime is adapted from a manga or light novel or whatever, it's the bare minimum. They do the absolute average that they can offer. And it's not, I guess the staff that's fully at fault. It's just there's a lot of circumstances when it comes to, production, budget, production committee. There's so much. There is a lot to really consider when it comes down to it. And so it's not necessarily the fault. It just, that's how anime is. And so when you have a shining gem like Spy Family, it really stands out. And I feel like that's a big part to play of why the anime is doing so well. And it makes a lot of sense, especially when the staff that's working on this have made very big hit series recently, like, My Dress Up Darling. So it all kind of falls together when you really just take a step back and think about the actual, project that this anime is. So let's talk about it. There was anime original scenes in this episode of Spy Family. Now, when people hear the term anime original, there's a stigma that is associated with that term, and the reason for that stigma is for a good reason. I mean, Naruto, Bleach, and countless other series that have come out that isn't like a big shonen series that have been absolutely tarnished by anime original content that kind of deviates from the original source, and it is just something else entirely. And that's a problem that a lot of anime have. And so, Spy Family using anime original content, when people probably hear that term before, they know anything, might think, oh, that's not good. But actually, anime original scenes can really be helpful, very beneficial for a series. Because sometimes when a writer is writing, let's say, a light novel, or if they are, let's say, doing, a manga, sometimes there's restrictions. They're not able to do certain things because maybe they don't have enough time for it, or maybe they wanted to add it in, but they were trying to get another point crossed with the story, and they just didn't have time to really fill in that blank. And sometimes there's blanks left in the writing for things that may be added in through imagination or whatever. And sometimes anime can take that blank and add something in between it. And that's what this episode did. The entire house tour scene with Anya showing around Yor was anime original. Now, I know that's a shock, so let me make sure we're all on the same page to kind of explain. Yes, Yor did get her own room in the manga. We got to see her deliver her boxes, and she put her box in the corner, which says where all her weapons are in, but we did not actually get to see her tour the entire house, like the kitchen. We didn't get to see her tour the bathroom. We didn't get to see her see Anya's room. We didn't get to see any of that in the manga, and so this episode actually elevates that content. It elevates it to a new level and allows you to see a bond forming between Anya and Yor. It's very good for characterization and character development. And so in terms of what this episode is trying to do, it excellently inputted like a new scene that was able to expand upon the original source without messing with the original source. I greatly appreciate content like that because it allows people that, let's say, are manga readers to enjoy the anime because the anime even has new content and it doesn't ruin the original content. That is something that always makes me incredibly happy. Now, speaking of that, there is something else that needs to be talked about, and that is the inner dialogue of the characters. It is something that I feel like people kind of overlook maybe while watching Spy Family. Spy Family is heavily inner dialogue driven. For instance, you have Yor thinking in her mind a lot, you have Lloyd thinking in his mind a lot, and Anya as well. We have multiple instances just from this episode alone where our characters think within their own mind. And the thing is that most anime, when they adapt from, let's say, a light novel or they adapt from a manga, sometimes internal monologue, it's removed. It's gone. It's reduced to nothing. It's not even there anymore. And a lot of characterization, a lot of character development within a story isn't adapted right. Maybe the overall impression of a character will be very different because you don't get to hear inside of the character's actual head. And obviously, Spy Family is a series that has a lot of that, so you can't really just, like, cut it. But it's still refreshing to see how the animators of Spy Family are able to navigate around some of that. Because one of the reasons why I think a lot of anime studios avoid inner monologue and like they don't want to do it is because they have to animate scenes that give a lot of life. Instead of just throwing a still frame of a character's eyes just staring very intensely or whatever, you know, they need to figure out a way to keep the audience's attention on the screen while dialogue is happening, exposition or whatever, and it's very hard sometimes maybe to do that. So it's nice to see how the staff that is working on Spy Family is able to use inner monologue and still keep the overall attention on screen, keep your attention on screen, and make you enjoy the content because there's always something going on. There is a lot of movement in the characters. It feels like the world is alive. It's very immersive, and that is something that definitely needs to be pointed out. I feel like this series really is just having everything actually work to its better. For instance, it has everything lining up to make this series absolutely excellent. Now, one thing I do want to talk about though is what this episode actually was about. It was about Yor fitting in with Lloyd's family, with Anya's family, getting to actually be that mother figure. And it's a really nice episode because our family, besides just having that little scene with her moving in, they go on a family outing. They get to kind of experience what it would be like to just go on a family outing, go to the park, go out to eat, go maybe to a museum. It's a very wholesome episode, very wholesome. And if you didn't know anything about the series, like if someone was to show you just images of Spy Family, okay, and you had no idea what Spy Family was, they didn't even give you the title, you would assume that this is just a wholesome slice of life, family slice of life series. That's it. You wouldn't think that there would be any action. You wouldn't think that there would be anything that would be on the darker side. You would just think it's a wholesome family. And obviously this series is definitely just that as well, but I do like how it has that perception to it, because it's exactly what Lloyd wants you to see. Since he's trying to make a family, that looks normal, fits in, it makes sense that the entire episode would give you that impression. It's kind of like a fourth wall breaking to a degree. Like, you know, you feeling the very thing that Lloyd is trying to do, make, you know, everybody be deceived. I don't know, something like that just really makes me happy. And so Spy Family as an anime series from this season is deserving of all the praise and love that it's getting. I know people will be quick to assume that this series is overrated, and that's usually what happens. That comes with the territory when a series gets popular. It's always what people do. But I will say that Spy Family is definitely something that is deserving of the love it's getting, because there is a lot of care. There's a lot of attention to detail, and there is a lot of ways that these animators and everyone that's working on it is putting in the extra oomph to make it a better project. So just shoutouts to all of them. Shoutouts to everyone that has worked on this series so far. You all truly are doing a fantastic job, and I absolutely love episode 3. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for everyone that tuned in and watched this video. If you enjoyed it to any degree, leave me a like. It does help me out a lot. But with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.